Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
You are listening to the Brilliance Business Show. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. Conversations with leading experts in business. And today I'm joined by the most incredible guest, Meagan Fettes. Meagan is founder of the Rise Entrepreneur Centre, and our topic today is how thoughts become things. Meagan, welcome to the Brilliance Business Show.
Hi, Mark. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm very excited for today's conversation.
I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you, Meagan. Before I get started, I just need to make a legal disclaimer that Meagan is not offering legal advice or legal assistance. So let's get started with the show. Meagan, can you share with our listeners a little bit about yourself and your business?
Absolutely. So I've been a mindset and business coach now for the past 10 years, just a little bit over that. And within my business specifically, I focus on providing the foundational tools that one needs to build and scale their business, while also teaching them how to utilize the spiritual tools to be able to align within themselves and make those decisions, make the actions from a centered place versus often the stressed out place that most people do.
And when we mix spirituality and business together, they go so well together, don't they, Meagan?
They absolutely do. I love when people recognize the fact that we're both a spiritual being and a human being. And when we can learn to tap into the balance between the two, it awakens this unlimited potential that runs so deeply within us. It's absolutely incredible to watch.
And Meagan, you teach mindset. I would like to know a little bit about your past, your own challenges, because I know that when people serve and help others to transformation, they normally have their own story. So can you tell me a little bit about your challenges?
Absolutely, Mark. I joke all the time, actually, with my clients and the people that I serve, that I embarked on a lot of challenges really fast in order to learn a lot about life and about business. And one of the biggest challenges that I embarked on within my life that created the most change was, in my past, I actually was a drug addict. And I had lived being an addict for several years, had gone through a couple of overdoses, and finally one day woke up. And it was literally that clear. I woke up one morning and I knew I had two choices. I had a choice to continue down the path that I was going. And if I continued down that path, I knew where I was going to end up. Or I could make a different choice. And I made that different choice without really knowing what I was doing. And I got myself involved in the yoga community actually around my area. And they really shone a light at looking at ourselves, or looking at myself specifically, and how I was showing up, what it was that I was trying to avoid, how I was treating myself, and what I needed to do in order to create different results in my life. And in that moment, I actually fell in love with that process. And I realized that if I could shift my perspective from looking from the outside in and look from the inside out, that I actually had a lot more power than what I gave myself credit for in the past. And so that really is what embarked the really deep journey that I went into in understanding mindset, understanding our spiritual selves as well as our human self.
I understand you so much better now, and I'm really happy to have this conversation with you because I myself am an ex-drug addict as well. I was addicted to crack cocaine and heroin, and I actually collapsed and died from drug use. And what really stood out to me there, one, now I know why you help and serve others because you have walked the path. So you're great at guiding and helping others with their transformations. But what you really said that really stood out to me, you made a choice. And that is a prime example of how to turn thoughts into reality because everything in life starts out with making the right choices, with repetition, the belief systems, anything can be created. So I'm really happy to hear your story, and it's given me a more in-depth look at why you do what you do. Now, Megan, I would like to know a little bit about the products and services that you offer your clients.
Absolutely. And thanks for sharing your story as well, Mark. I really appreciate it. I find that there's so much more as human beings that we can do when we have that connection and allow ourselves to be vulnerable. And so thank you. I really appreciate you as well.
Yes, I'm glad to be having the conversation with you today.
So the products and services that Rise Spiritual Entrepreneur Center offers is the how-to of business building while implementing the universal laws of the universe. And this actually, the idea comes from, I also grew up with a very forward-thinking grandmother. She was my person when I was younger, and she navigated from the universal laws. That was how she lived her life. And so at a very young age, I actually was educated about them, and then through my journey had forgotten until I made that choice to step into something different. And so what the Rise Entrepreneur Center does is we offer a mastermind or group style coaching that focuses on the fundamental and strategic tools that one needs in order to build and scale their business from those universal law standpoints. So we offer a 6-month mastermind that we deep dive into each individual's business, their life, because really the two are not separate. And we start to implement the universal laws, create a deeper understanding of how the universe works and how we can co-create within it in a really intentional way to build the business in the direction that we truly want.
What I love about what you're doing, I have said it previously, how you are putting spirituality and business together, because it's so easy sometimes to think you're just focused on the material world and business, but then on the other hand, you're spiritual and you don't want to lose that spiritual part of yourself. And that can be quite challenging at times, living in a material world, living your day-to-day life, but having all this spiritual knowledge and being spiritual. And it's great that you're putting those together, Megan. It really is a great combination, because then you'll be coming from the heart. Everything that you're doing in business will be with good ethics, good just leadership skills coming from the heart with integrity. Do you agree with me?
Absolutely. And what's interesting I find about it is when we learn how to navigate from that space from our heart, things happen a lot easier. There's that fluidity, that flow that naturally happens. Whereas when we're moving from a space that's outside of ourselves, there's a lot of resistance that comes up. And often a lot of like fear that comes up within the mindset. And so it's really neat to teach people that when you align with that spiritual self, things become easier, they become more simple.
I agree with you totally. I think when you are living from the heart, it feels good. It's a good feeling, and things flow a lot more easy. And the two words that stood out to me there, one was definitely resistance, and you'll have to remind me of the other one, but they're both fears. Resistance and fears, they're the biggest killers of your dreams. So coming from the heart and putting spirituality and business together really is a combination for success. Now, Meagan, I really want to chat to you today. You are featuring in the new film by Douglas Vermeeren, How Thoughts Become Things. Can you tell us a little bit about the film and your role?
Absolutely. How Thoughts Become Things is a very exciting film that's coming forward. And it was inspired by The Secret, actually. And it is the next step, basically, to the law of attraction. How we've now educated people that the law of attraction is a universal law, but now what? What can they do in order to create momentum utilizing this knowledge? And what's really interesting about it, and why I've loved being a part of this film, is the discussion is more so around not necessarily thoughts, but emotions, and how our emotions and our connection to our emotions actually create the greatest momentum in the direction that we want or don't want. So my role really has been being one of the speakers in the film, providing a new set of knowledge around how do we utilize the tools of the law of attraction in everyday life, and how can we utilize them to make our life feel better and to support those around us in a better and more supportive role.
I am a big fan of The Secret, and then when I watched the Opus movie by Douglas recently, I was just so excited to have the opportunity, which I feel I manifested it, being a big fan of law of attraction as well. All of a sudden, I manifested interviewing you all, which is a big manifestation for me, because this is so in a line with my values. And I am just so excited about this film, Meagan. I would like to know, in your words, in a few sentences, how thoughts become things.
Absolutely. And I love, you've got me smiling on this end here, Mark, because it is so like super exciting, and you are a very powerful soul from what I've been experiencing in this interview, and your manifestation is a result of all of that. So it's really neat to hear that this is
Thank you.
in alignment with you as well. So how thoughts become things. When we break down our thoughts, more often than not, we are not actually thinking through intention. We're actually often thinking out of circumstance. And that's often why we continue to repeat the same experiences over and over, is because our thought processes get unwound into our current reality versus our actual intentional, proactive thought processes that allow us to see outside of that. And when we can train ourselves to see that our current reality isn't our actual true reality, and when we can create an image within our mind of where it is that we want to go, then drop that into the emotion, really, we're aligning into the connection of the universal offering, and it allows the universe to actually bring to us what it is that we need, what it is that we want, in order to move forward to that vision that we've created in our mind.
Beautifully put. And what I'm taking from that, and I say this when I speak myself, no matter what is going on in your present reality, you must not look at your outside circumstances and focus inwards on your own goals, your own dreams, and eventually what you are focusing on will show up. And I got that from your words of not taking notice of your present reality to bring in the new manifestation. So that was beautifully put, Meagan. Now, my next question: why should people attend a screening of How Thoughts Become Things, or at bare minimum, get a copy of the movie?
This movie is going to change the way people think and the way people look at themselves in their lives. In the yoga world, we talk a lot about how our internal experience creates our external reality. And I speak about that in the film specifically, but this film is going to give everybody the tools that they need to start understanding the hows of implementing the law of attraction to become that powerful manifester that everybody has the capacity to be. And I really see this movie as being that foundation for people shifting out of those regular, repeated circumstances and really starting to dive into their true potential.
Yes, and people that are ready for change or wanting to move forwards or change their circumstances, I can see a big ripple effect with this movie. It could change a lot of lives. Now, Meagan, you are super busy. You've just been doing all your feature parts in the movie. You're a mindset coach. I would like to know what's new for Meagan. What are you working on right now, and what's new coming up in the future?
Well, right now, my biggest focus within my business is building a community. I have really been getting the call as of late to focus on how do we come together as a community, because we thrive better when we come together. And so within my business, although we have the mastermind group model, I am looking at creating like ambassadorship, community, ways that we can support each other on a greater foundation.
Exciting things happening in your world. Now, I would like to ask you, we're coming to the end of the interview now. Is there anything we did not cover that you would like to share, Meagan?
That's a great question, Mark. Not that I can think of right now. This has been an absolute pleasure. I mean, it's one of my favorite topics to talk about, and I can tell it's one of your favorites as well.
It certainly is.
Yeah. So at the moment, there's no questions that I can think of or anything that we haven't covered, unless there's something that you can think of yourself.
I would just like to say, anyone wanting to see this movie, they must go to howthoughtsbecomethings.com. You will be able to see all of the other people that are featuring in the movie, along with Meagan and the amazing Douglas Vermeeren. This film is going to be totally incredible, so exciting. Now, Meagan, how can our listeners contact you or connect with you?
The best way, Mark, is through my website. And my website is my name. It's www.meaganfettes.com. And on there, there's a contact me. So if anybody has any questions or wants to connect about anything at all, feel free to reach me on there.
Thank you so much for being my guest today. I urge everyone to go to www.meaganfettes.com and check out this amazing lady. Thank you so much for being my guest today. I've really enjoyed a conversation with you, Meagan.
Thanks. Likewise, Mark. This has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. You have been listening to the Brilliance Business Show, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. Until next time, bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.